So we're online, we're live, all right. Welcome everybody who's watching through the streaming. Welcome to the meeting tonight. This is the Centerville Community School Districts. We're gonna have a public hearing and a regular board meeting tonight. It is August 14th of 2023 at 5:30 p.m. in the Centerville Community School District Admin Office. Our school district mission is that all students will learn well, become lifelong learners, and contribute positively to society. We're going to start tonight with a public hearing for an electric line easement. We'll call the meeting to order now with a roll call, please.
Moore is absent. Mike Thomas.
Here.
Bob Thomas.
Here.
Shondell.
Here.
Berger.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Wiskus.
Here. All right, the meeting is now called to order. We need to approve the agenda for the public hearing, please.
Motion to approve. Second.
The motion second to approve the agenda for the public hearing. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Agenda is approved. All right, presentation of the electric line easement. Now, we've had a couple of go-arounds with this. We had it presented at the work session, and then we've talked about it. So, Mark, is there anything you want to add from the...
So again, this is for the easement in front of the bus barn area, and it's all underground, no above ground structure. We did have the language put in that we wanted to make sure we got put in so that if they do work, the damage is that they are responsible for returning it back to the condition it was in prior to the work happening. And we had them eliminate the line where it said other parties. At one point in there was a spot where it said other parties can do things, and that was kind of a concerning spot for us. So we asked them to just go back and review that for us, and they decided to just go ahead and eliminate that instead.
Just as a point of observation, there is something sticking out of the ground there.
I noticed that.
That little green base.
I kind of think it came from the north, but
Okay.
I guess it's not a big deal.
Like it's the same as the ones kind of around the block, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so they've already done some work on it, looks like.
Yeah, I think there has been so.
Just-
I've had the same observation.
So, whatever.
Okay. So are there any comments from the public? This is a public hearing. Are there any comments from the public or any interested visitors on the potential electric line easement that the Centerville District would be making with Alliant Energies and its parties? Okay, no public comments. Are there any board discussions on the easement? Seeing no board discussion, I can entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to our regular meeting. I'd like to call a regular meeting to order with a roll call, please.
Moore is absent. Mike Thomas.
Here.
Bob Thomas.
Here.
Shondell.
Here.
Berger.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Wiskus.
Here. Meeting is now called to order, and we'd like to welcome all visitors and everybody who is joining us online. So thank you for watching the streaming of this. As far as the public forum goes, I'll read our board policy as far as public comment. We'll now open the floor for public comment. I will remind all speakers that while this is an open forum for the issue, the board does expect all speakers to maintain a civil tone and refrain from using profanity. I want to also remind speakers that any comments that may be made during the public comments are done so at the risk of the person making the comment, and the district will not be responsible for any defamatory, potentially defamatory statements which may be made about a particular person. It is the board's practice not to engage or respond to speakers during the public comment session, regardless of the topic and or concern. If the board wishes to further discuss or address an item raised in public comment, will do so by establishing an item agenda at the future board meeting. That is our district policy on the public forum. Is there any member of the public that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to approve the agenda, please.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Same sign. Okay. Next thing is we need to approve the minutes of the previous meetings. I believe there were 3 meetings, or 2 meetings, and one of them had a correction on it.
On the July 10th minutes, we had the tuition reimbursement agreement with Jolene Bishop in the packet, and I left it off the minutes. So I'm just adding that to reflect that you guys approved that, so.
Any comments on the minutes?
Motion to approve minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the minutes of the previous meetings. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. There is no old business. Moving on to the new business. We have a resolution to approving the conveyance of certain interest in real properties to the Interstate Power and Light Company. This is the resolution that is in the board packet, and it is the one that was the subject matter of our public hearing earlier this evening. Anybody have any questions or comments before we go into the resolution? Somebody like to make a motion on the resolution?
Move to approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the resolution conveying certain interest in real property, Interstate Power and Light Company. This is a roll call vote.
Mike Thomas,
Yes.
Bob Thomas,
Yes.
Shonda,
Yes.
Berger,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Liskus.
Yes. Resolution is adopted. Okay. Thank you. The next piece is to approve participation in federal and special programs, consolidated grants, and appoint a program contracts.
This is an annual item. You'll see program contacts listed for various federal programs on here and other special programs. These are the folks who will take care of these items for the year ahead.
Yeah, there's a list of, so Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, and as down in the.
Of happy note on this, I will say to give some note is the prevalence of the name Julie Caraccio on this list. So I'm happy to hand a few of these items over to Mrs. Caraccio to expertly handle, to allow me to do some other items.
Does everybody on the board know that she's completed her work for a superintendent's license?
Yep, the good ones always go.
Well, we didn't say we're letting her go, but she is, that's the reason she's taking over.
You don't have a chance when they decide.
I know that, but I just want to acknowledge she has done a lot of work to professionally develop herself and further improve her.
We've had a really great time working through a lot of projects already since her coming on board for that in July, so it's been really good.
So I think this is Mark mentoring her in some supervisory superintendent activities.
Motion to approve as presented.
I think we have a running total also of like thousands of dollars.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second? Thank you. We have a motion second to approve the participation in federal special programs. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Now your comment?
No, I was just gonna say, we've got a running total of how many thousands of dollars she's saved since coming on in July, finding new things, looking at things a little differently, so that's a pleasant running total,
Okay.
to have.
Well, thank you for all the work that you've done to further your career and the work of the district, so thank you. And I will say this, while you were on vacation and she was filling in for you, she didn't have to call me once with a
She's
problem.
just that good, she's got that solved, she's in good shape.
So she handled everything well.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Designate an investigator, an alternate investigator, level 2 investigator to research allegations of students abuse by employees. Level 1 investigator is going to be Julie Caraccio with Ann Morgan as the alternate. Level 2 will continue to be the county attorney Susan Daniel with Ann Morgan as an alternate.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second. We have a motion second to approve the investigator and alternates for level 1 and level 2 investigations. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Approve sharing agreements in Moravia School District. Mark, why don't you talk about this?
A couple unique opportunities here for our district, to help a neighbor out and to get some help back in exchange. As you know, we had, very late, when contracts were due, we had a counselor resign, and we've been unable to find a person to fill that position. So Mr. Swenson did reach out to me from Moravia and offered to share. It's actually his wife, who's the guidance counselor with Moravia. We'll get 20% of her time, which covers our most essential counseling need that we were losing with that, which was our 5th grade counseling. So she'll work for us 20% of the time. Both districts will actually produce some sharing dollars that'll pay for the costs with this. But then it also makes sure that we can be fully in compliance with the counseling that we needed to be, and hopefully turn around next year. And this buys us time to hit some fresh grads or some new people out there in the spring to hire for a full-time counselor for Howard next year. Then the other one, I guess I should mention, is actually, it's sharing me, and to be honest, there probably will be a little bit of help from Julie, as she's working on our special ed documentation that I'll help work on theirs with Mr. Swenson. Again, it's 20% of the time, but Sam and I talked a lot about that 20% of the time won't necessarily be physical time, where we need Dina to be here physically because she's going to be working with kids. I can do a lot of the work to help them from my office here. Now, I did offer, if he's got a particularly tough meeting, I'd be happy to come and sit in with him and help him out. Obviously, there's sharing incentives for these, and that's not the primary reason why you enter into a sharing agreement. But in this case, we'll produce, I think it's 9 student count for having shared me for this position. And Moravia will produce 2, because I'll be serving as their special education director for that. So they'll get 2 student count added to their enrollment, we'll get 9 added to ours.
Any questions or any more discussion?
Just some of the information we got over the weekend, kind of explaining the time. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that kind of read that. It's like, hold on, wait a second.
A lot of time, yeah.
But no, for that clarification, I mean, it makes sense, and it's a win-win for both districts and things, so.
And the nice thing about this is a lot of the work that's done with that is stuff that we're already doing as well, so we can kind of work on theirs and ours at the same time and get a real benefit.
Motion to approve sharing agreements with Moravia Community School District.
We have a motion second to approve the sharing agreements. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Of course, the Moravia board will have to do their side to make that official.
I believe they're meeting at 6 tonight, maybe. They're meeting tonight at some point.
Okay. We have several service agreement with vendors. Now, Mark and I talked about putting these on the board agenda in the past. These have just been approved administratively, but we thought maybe we'll just start bringing this stuff in front of the board so the board has a little more oversight on some of these things we're doing. So, Aaron, do you want to talk about these? Because these kind of affect what you're doing, right?
Yeah, the first one, with Garrett Callahan, it's just a continuation. It's just basically a re-up of the current contract we have. Of course, over the years, everything goes up a little bit in price. But Garrett Callahan services like chemicals for the water for our HVAC, like boilers and this and that. You gotta keep the chemicals in them to keep bacteria from growing.
Does it all hit sediments too?
What?
Does it affect the sediments in the
Yes.
boiler too? Okay.
Basically, keeps the inside of the boiler like down at high school. They're 2 very large, they're probably 20-foot long boilers down in the basement, and without chemical in the water, it would cause a lot of blackening on the inside of the pipes on the inside of the boiler. This kind of helps diminish that a little bit.
So are these boilers that are used in the science wing and the tech wing?
Yeah, all that. We actually use them at Lakeview as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so they're not going away.
No.
Yeah, it's not the boiler in the old part of the school.
And we haven't added in, because I've already talked to them about this. Eventually, when the new edition is done, that contract will have to be edited to add on the new, because all of the units for HVAC equipment and the new edition will be added on to that. So the price will go up eventually. The other contract, the Schumacher elevator, over a lot of thinking, I decided to switch our vendor for elevator servicing. The previous company we were using, had very large habits of just band-aiding stuff, especially the elevator at Lakeview. It, very easily, it's always broken, let's just call it that. But I've heard a lot of good things about Schumacher. And I just felt like it needed to change, needed someone in there that would actually inspect these. It's kind of a good instance to share with you, for the last company, that elevator by the auditorium at the high school, we were having problems with it. It was starting to drop, it was losing hydraulic fluid. And their suggestion to us was a $60,000 new shaft being put in the elevator. And then I realized that they hadn't even gotten down into the bottom pit of the elevator yet, and that was already their suggestion. Well, I told them to go down and investigate a little bit further, and all it was the packing around the bottom of the shaft needed replaced, and that was a $5,000 cost. So it's evidence that the company's just not, they're just out to get money. And then I've heard a lot of good things about Schumacher. The hospital in Bloomfield uses them for all of their elevators, and had nothing but good things to say about them. And the only difference is with Schumacher, they will come down quarterly to inspect the elevators. As in my thinking, something that's safety involved like that, we need them to inspect them a little bit more often, keep them in better shape.
Because we definitely want to make sure it's accessible for everybody.
And one thing I didn't realize until we went to discuss this is there's gonna be an elevator left in the high school. There's a part of the old building that's being left, just a second floor, we got so.
So we'll have to keep that. They're gonna take the third floor part of it off. So they'll just go to the second floor and then back down to the first.
But we do have to keep that elevator. So we'll have to continue with the contract, basically.
And this is for the entire district, not just those three.
Sure. But there should only be,
There's one at each of the big three schools. There's one at Howard and there's one at Lakeview.
oh, for the gym, to get up to the second floor of the new gym building? Got it, okay. All right. Any questions on what Aaron presented?
I'd just like to thank Aaron for doing the due diligence and finding what works, what doesn't. It's always nice to see that, but I would motion to approve the agreements as presented.
Second.
Motion second, approve the service agreement as presented by Aaron. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, 28E agreement, update with Kids World.
Julie, do we have anything big updated here? I didn't think there was anything.
No, it's exactly the same.
Okay.
Motion to approve the contract, Kids World.
Second.
All in favor, motion second, approve the 28E with Kids World. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion's approved. Approve the CEDA's preschool contract.
So I don't believe that there's a change in the contract per se, but we have communicated that, in the past, it was, I believe, supposed to be policy not to transport 3-year-olds, and we did as a courtesy, we determined for safety, that it's not in the best interest of us, transporting 3-year-olds. So that's not a change with the contract, just a change in the administrative practices around that. And they're aware of that, and they were fine with that.
Motion to approve the preschool contract.
Second.
Motion second, approve the CEDA preschool contract. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay. Now the fun part, motion's approved, by the way. Approve the first reading of board policy 200. Lots of things that should be near and dear to everybody's heart, because this basically affects the board. So, kind of want to go sequentially through this, because I know on some of these I have quite a few questions, so. I'm just gonna, if everybody's got them, I'm gonna tick down through them pretty quick. Policy 200, any comments? 201.1,
Yeah, there's a technical error there, I think, in that last paragraph. The last paragraph, second to the last sentence, that word will needs to be moved, I think.
Okay, what policy are you guys on?
I'm on 200.1 or the
Okay.
old
Thank you,
201.2.
yeah. That helps to kind of go through that way.
Right.
200.1, last paragraph you said?
the will board secretary.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the board secretary will preside.
I
You're
missed
right.
that part.
Sorry about
I
that.
didn't catch that.
Good catch, Bob.
Thank you.
Too much free time.
It's the benefit of all.
Okay.
He
Anything else?
Spent his life checking on people's work.
Yeah.
Fair.
Anything else in 200.1? Okay, 200.1 R1, I have a, just a question on the final board meeting, the retiring board examined and saw the books of the previous year. Do you normally have that done by then? I guess if we've done that, I don't remember doing it.
Well, the CAR
Item
usually
six.
goes, we usually
Is that
do
the
that in
audit?
October,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's with the audit and everything.
Well,
No?
no, it's the CAR, it's your back end report.
Oh, got it, okay. All right, that makes sense. Got it, all right. And I do like 2.1 that the board secretary is president pro tem over the organizational meeting. I remember that.
Yeah, we've never done that ever.
No.
Maybe with Marty or with you,
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Well, I haven't done an organizational meeting yet.
Oh, good one. Well, Marty never did.
That's right. I remember talking about president pro tem. but Anything else on this one? Okay. 201.2, any comments?
I think you're
200.2,
yeah.
200.2,
So
sorry.
actually, and I apologize, I made a mistake in this one. What used to be 201.1, name of school district is listed next with a 200.02. It should not include that number. It should be a strikeout. The guidance from IUSB on that is, this is not based on sample policy. This is an example of a board policy that's likely too narrow and could be combined with an existing policy. The purpose of board policy is to clearly articulate the board's position on a larger topic relevant to the district, and where needed, provide guidance for your administration to carry out the board's goals. So this policy was one that was just about naming the district and saying the county in which we're located, which is not required and wouldn't fit if it were required in the 200
Oh, I'm
series.
with you now, okay. So we're just removing that. since ISB
Yeah,
said-
from their guidance, I'm proposing that we strike that one.
Any questions? 200.2,
A new one. Powers of the board of
and then
directors.
as far as the board. 200.3, responsibilities of the board.
I will admit, at some point Kate and I saw where it was change one word, leave one word, change one word, leave one word. Sometimes we just did strike out the paragraph, put the new paragraph in, for the sake of time.
200.4, board member social media engagement. This does not surprise me that this is a new policy based on ISB guidance over the last couple of years. 201, school board elections. This is just to get it on the right year, or, yeah, the right month. 202.01, qualifications. 202.02.
Yeah, just a typing error in the second paragraph.
Okay.
You got a capital N and a small n.
So that capital N is struck out.
Oh, okay, good point.
It just doesn't
Yeah,
show up very
yeah,
well on
yeah,
that because
you're
the
right.
font's
Okay.
super small.
Okay. Ready? 202.3.
And actually, that should be, no, it shouldn't be. That should be 03, 04, 05. Really, to stay, because that's how we have it named through
Okay,
02.
well, we'll let you fix that. Vacancies, my question on vacancies, should we add in the board policy the law that if you don't get to the organizational meeting, swear in, you're not?
It sort of says that,
How so?
I don't know, but when I read it, I decided it was okay.
See, just because we had to do it, when I read it, it's just like, I think that's missing. All we're doing there is basically restating the law. May not be necessary. It's only because we did it on.
And sometimes if you have laws that are specific like that, that are in law already,
We don't have to.
just
worry
from
about
looking through these, they recommend not necessarily
Okay.
putting in the extra
I'm
words
good
in
then.
case it changes.
it. Okay, I'm good then.
I don't have a specific note on that
All
one.
right, 202.5, I'm just gonna call it for the 202.5 individual authority. 203, that was just a little format using this.
The only question I
The
had,
whole,
Yeah, yes,
the only
yeah.
question I had on 203 was with the compensation. Is that a state law or is that a district as far as the 20?
the 20,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be 3,000, went to 6,000 since we've been on the board. And then the state moved it to 20,000 because of teacher shortages and some board members are retired teachers, that way they could go into these subs.
Well, that was kind of my question. I didn't know if that was something that we could adjust.
No, we can't take it up.
Okay. I know that there
We can take it down,
are,
but we can't take it
there
up.
are people advocating for a higher number, on the state level, because of the fact that so many board members are, you know, former teachers that are willing to sub out there. So, I could see that being changed in future legislative sessions.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID, it was 3,000. All right, 204, code of ethics. 205, board member liability. 205.1, security, our security's gone tonight. 206.1, so my question is, why do we eliminate that second paragraph, the president presided all meetings, sign all contract, why is that one being?
Let me look.
What caught me was the signing of contracts, because that's kind of been an issue of board discussion over the last couple of years.
So the guidance, and I can read it here after everything, so the guidance from them was CIASB sample policy 206.01 for updated language regarding the term of the board of presidents, CIASB primer volume 29, number 5 for additional detail regarding this update. So which paragraph?
It's the first one that's being eliminated, the president shall preside all meetings. My whole thing was signed contracts, because that's kind of been an issue about getting contracts to the board.
Let's see.
I guess what I've seen inferred in this is the board president is not required to sign all the contracts when he can.
I'm not sure why that's a recommended change. I can ask why doesn't the board?
Okay. And the only issue is the signing of contracts.
Now, it may be that that comes up in the business policy.
Okay.
Isn't
Okay.
that covered in the last new paragraph
We'll sign employment contracts, yep.
and sign other contracts?
That could be. That might be the answer, Bob.
I think it is.
Okay.
I did put a typo in here. Paragraph 1, CPAC should be speak. I think that might be a Vulcan name, actually, that I wrote.
I think if Bob's point may be covered, it's down the last paragraph, so. But I also wrote down there, why don't we do this? So I may not have, I had comment on that too, but I didn't put the two together, so. Okay. But it may be okay. I'm okay with it.
Okay, leave it.
Yep. 206.2, vice president. 206.3, secretary treasurer. The only question I have with this, so we just appoint this once, we don't have to do it annually, or do we have to do it annually?
Let's see what it says in the.
Because it says to finalize the appointment of, but it doesn't say, like at organizational meeting or annually. Do we just appoint you once and it's good forever?
That's always
Okay,
done.
that's okay. That's my only question.
And there was, some choice in who the evaluator for that person would be, whether it be a principal or a superintendent or something, so I did put superintendent there, as that's been the practice that's been in place in the district for a number of years.
Okay, I'm good with that one, just my question. All right, so 207.4, it looks like it's eliminated.
Yes, and so I wanna make sure I talk to that. There are two options in the exemplar policy. Option one is to have a separate board secretary, board treasurer policy. And then option two is to have a board secretary treasurer policy. Given that our positions are combined at this time, I felt it most appropriate to bring to y'all, the combined policy. If ever that would be changed down the road, we could certainly pull out the exemplar that goes the other direction of that too. But just to kind of keep the language clean and make sure that everyone understands their roles, it seemed best to go with the one that most closely aligned with our current practices.
Yep. Okay. 207, legal counsel. Now annually, we appoint our legal counsel. One thing that has been in discussion over the course of the last several months is possibly appointing a secondary legal counsel. Sometimes you can't get a hold of the primary and get an answer back exactly as you want. And there's also maybe some cases in there where we want to have secondary counsel. So that's just a heads up that in November we may come to the board and ask for secondary counsel.
And of note in this change from their recommendations is that former policy really only gave the authority to contact legal counsel on behalf of the district to the superintendent, but the recommended policy from IASB now gives that to the superintendent and board secretary, and in the event that the issue could be with the superintendent or board secretary, the board president. So that's the recommended language that I really think would be wise for us to adopt.
Okay. 209 is eliminated. I guess we don't evaluate ourselves.
Yeah, it wasn't
We've never done it.
based on sample policy or a requirement for a board to have that listed.
I guess we're evaluated at election day, right? Isn't that what they say?
That's a very performance-based evaluation, I suppose.
208, committees, ad hoc committees. Counts. 208E1. Also none. 2091, policy development. 2092. 2093. I'm just gonna keep going unless somebody stops. 209.4. 209.5. 0.6. 7. Then we jumped to 201, 210.7.
Yeah, and I believe, look, I kind of saw that.
Is it
Out
out
of
of order?
order.
Is it just out of numbering out of order?
I was gonna check everything.
Okay. Okay. 210.2, the only thing in there, it says begins promptly at PM, it doesn't say what time. Board regular meetings, 210.2.
Apologize for that. That's 210.1 or 210.2?
Point two.
Point two.
Okay. Would the board be okay with me checking numbers to make sure we consolidate and line up with IASB as much as
Yeah.
possible on those, but, so right there.
Yep,
But do you want me to put 5:30 or
Yeah.
do we?
Well, if you get a new board, they might want a different time, I wouldn't put a number in there. Because that could change depending on who's on the board.
They can change the policy.
So what if I
It'd be
ask,
easier if they just did it on one they wanted it, not a policy.
what if I ask Mr. Vaughn at IASB if it would be okay with, in these policies, if that would meet the requirement to say at the agreed upon time or assigned time? Or if they've got some language that we could massage out to do that flexibility.
over my 4 years in board, I kind of grown fond of 5:30, it works pretty well for me, I don't know about everything else.
This is not the 10 Commandments here.
Fair enough.
We can change it anytime.
Yeah, all right,
But the points we'll make.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if we're gonna have PM in there, we just need to designate what it is. 210.1 annual meeting. All right, 210.3 special meetings. 210.4 work sessions. 2:10.5, meeting notices. 2:10.6, quorum for meetings. Kind of like this, 2:10.7, that R Bowlegs 1, rules of order. You have to learn those. That looks like that's all new. Kind of how we've been ruling it anyway, so as far as Robert's rules of orders. Okay. All right, 2:10.8, board meeting agenda. So my question on this one, if you go to the very bottom paragraph, on board meeting agenda, it says the board will take action on any item listed on the tentative agenda. So that prompted a question. When you guys send the agenda out on Friday, and we walk in here at 5:30, it's a tentative agenda, technically tentative until we approve it, then it's the formal agenda? Okay. I just never thought of it in those terms before. It's tentative until that time. Okay. Do 10.9. So this is one that I think, I think in the future, we're gonna wanna bring this up, maybe when we set a new board about doing a consent agenda to save some time. There's a lot of districts that do that. What the districts will do is we'll say, all of these things are on the consent agenda, that becomes an item, and it could be things like approve the meeting minutes, approve all the contracts, approve all this stuff, and that's on the consent agenda, you just go in and you just, one motion and it's done, and you eliminate like 5 motions and seconds and votes. So,
And the Centerville City Council does that, and you sit at home and watch that meeting, you don't know what's going on at all.
yeah,
So if you want to educate the public, I don't think you want a consent agenda. But if you're more interested in time, then you want that.
And the good thing about this policy is it just gives the board the authority to do that at some point. It doesn't require that we do that, it just gives the board that authority.
But there's enough mystery behind the way we do it. I think we want something.
so you're saying that transparency just continues saying, we're approving the meeting minutes, we're approving all this? Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
212.8, method of voting has been eliminated. 211, open meetings.
I apologize, that last paragraph should be italicized.
Oh, okay. Closed sessions. So on the 5 reasons down below, is the policy finder say to eliminate the reasons why you go into closed session because it's defined by law? Kind of like we talked about earlier.
Let me look and see what guidance is on this one. What was this number?
214, now 212.
Oh, this would be one. Oh, there it is. ISB updated sample policy 212 to clarify language on when to utilize closed sessions. Language related to exempt meetings was removed from this policy, and new policy 212.01, exempt meetings, was published, which I did include
Yeah.
exempt meetings next. Exempt meetings are separate from open meetings, and the topic should be separated into a distinct board policy. So I'm thinking that's probably what we're seeing there.
Okay.
And some of those items, some of those reasons are there in the exempt meetings policy.
Oh, okay. All right. That answers that. All right. I guess I didn't pick up on that. Okay.
It's okay, 'cause it's kind of a weird change, right? 'Cause
Yeah, it is.
They're real similar
They
things.
just broke it up and made 2 different policies, so it expanded, okay. 212.1 continued, and 212.1 exempt meetings. Okay, so that's all. Any questions on exempt meetings and closed meetings? Okay. Looks like order of business has been deleted. Public participation at board meetings. I've got a bunch of changes. On 213, public participation in board meetings, there's a couple of blanks on the second page about public comments. In the middle paragraph there, it says normally speakers will be limited to blank minutes with a total time of participation of 30 minutes. We've used 5 minutes per speaker and 30 minutes total time in the past.
Does seem fair to put that in.
I think we need to fill those blanks in.
Okay.
I mean, I've been here 4 years now, and I think we've had 2 people speak.
But if we don't have it on there.
Yep.
We don't have it to stand on.
Yeah, no limiting at that point, yeah.
Put some numbers in it. I think
5 to 30.
5 and 30 is what we've been doing, so that's pretty standard from other districts that I've talked to, so.
Goes in there.
213.1, public complaints. I think it says direct them all to the superintendent.
I think to some degree, at some point in the process, it does say that. I think it goes a few other places first.
I like that, I mean, I think it's even for
It
us,
spells it out.
as a board, I think that's something, keep at your desk at work.
Yep.
When some of that stuff comes up,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, yeah,
Follow the chain of command is what that really is.
yeah.
214, public hearings. And that's another one where we have a policy, but I don't know how, we've had one person in a public hearing that I can think of. That was Joe Sharp, wanted to know construction because it was to be across his house. I think that's one that I can think of in 4 years. He had some good questions. 215, Board of Directors records. There's not, flip that page over, there's not a policy. Oh, here it is, it's down the bottom, I missed that.
Oh, shoot, that didn't page right, I'm sorry.
Okay. So it'd be 216.1. It says that would belong to the ISB. Okay. 216, board member development and training. So this is where my question is, do we want to put some language in there about strong encouragement to attend the ISB convention for board members' professional development?
Good.
To me, that's kind of an important thing, because if you look at our mission statement, if we're true to our mission statement, it says become lifelong learners. For a board member, that's really where you go to get. So I would like to see a statement in there that would encourage board members. I mean, I can't, nobody in here can command or compel a duly elected official to go to that meeting, but I would like it to say something about strongly encouraging. Because I think going to it was a lot of benefit and all the feedback from it. It's just part of it.
I mean, could you just end at the, encourage board members to participate in qualifying learning opportunities to achieve the annual board award, comma, as well as attendance to the annual ISB convention.
I was almost even thinking qualifying learning opportunities, particularly the annual
Yep.
school board convention, comma, to achieve the annual board award, or something to that effect.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
call that event out.
And the board
specifically
award,
in
yeah,
that
start
sentence.
to do the board award, yeah.
I'll attach that to that sentence for the next.
Yeah.
one.
To me, it's, if the board is about leadership in the district, we should lead by example with our own professional development for what we're looking to do. Okay, thank you. 216.3, board members' compensation.
Woo-hoo, we're getting a raise.
Yeah,
It's fighting for it, I don't know.
You know, the board president, you get 10 times what a regular board member.
It's awesome.
10 times. And for those of you that are streaming, it's 10 times 0. Board members get 0 if you're streaming, it's 10 times 0, which is still 0. Even the social study teachers knows that, so.
Hey,
come on.
Bob,
Some days.
And if you're straight and wondering, Bob often says math was not his strong suit, so we're just having a little fun there, all right. 217, gifts to board members. And if you're straight and watching, board members get a gift up to $3. We're compensated highly for our work here. Okay. 218, school board and superintendent. It looks like 18.2, the administration team, you've been eliminated. From the policy.
So-
You are the.
I don't know about that one, says about you guys.
They have their own spot in another series.
18.3 is eliminated, 18.4, 18.5, 18.6. 19E1, then do the end of everything, down to 219, is eliminated up to 219, there's just a word change on that one. I'm just,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
everything's limited down to 219, and there's just a syntax change on that.
And the text that I think is important to say,
Yep.
it's that we don't endeavor to bargain in good faith with negotiations, we do bargain. in
Yeah,
good
we
faith.
shall bargain in good faith, yeah. I think by law, you need to bargain in good faith, so. Okay. All right, went through all of those. Any comments on the policies? Okay, the acts, or the agenda items to approve the first reading.
Motion to approve the first reading.
Motion second to approve the first reading of Board Policy Series 200. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Approve the support staff handbook.
So the support staff handbook, as you see it, we endeavored to update the current practices. You're not seeing a lot of change in practice in here. The handbook hadn't been updated in from what I could tell, in a few years here, so just trying to catch up and find things that have changed either in policy or in practice, and then to get that all documented in there. It may be that, you know, this upcoming summer, then as we see changes that would be needed to practice, that we'd recommend some of those to the board. I'd like to put this on our annual updating of handbooks. The next one you will likely see from us, I think we're 80% of the way done updating the business procedures manual. We'd like to see that one up to date with current practices. So that will then also receive an annual update, or at least an annual look to be approved and continued. I'm just trying to get these things up to date so that folks can know what the expectations for them are in our district.
Questions on the staff handbook updates? Anybody like the motion a second to approve the support staff handbook updates?
So moved.
Second.
A motion second to approve the updates to the support staff handbook. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, all opposed? Motion passes. J, approve technology purchase.
All right, get down to Jay here.
This one's over $10,000, so it has to come to the board.
This is to update some laptops that are out of date, I believe.
For administration.
The administrative laptops that are out of date. Trying to keep them functioning well. You know, we ask our administrators to be able to be in a lot of places with all of their information at their fingertips, so keeping them on up-to-date laptop is important for them to be able to work. There's a lot of pages in the board packet to scroll through, I apologize. Do you have anything to share about it, Cameron, that you think would be important?
Just for us admin, there's also 2 monitors in there, and 2 spare laptops, just so I can have some on hand for the other staff. Like I said, it was over the normal amount, so I had to come here. But I can answer any questions if you have some specifics.
Would the board like to take action on that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion a second to approve the technology purchase. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Okay, approve personnel business procedures, resignations, transfers, employment contracts, sports officials, and volunteers, as listed in your board packet. Any questions on any of those?
I would say, where you see these are teacher resignation this time of year, we have worked out coverage to make sure that we've got coverage for all of our classrooms, make sure that everything's in good shape for our students.
Okay. So we are going to be able to cover those positions.
Get that covered, yep.
Okay.
Along with this, is this where we want to talk about, as you know, at the beginning of the year is an important time to try to get people in. We still have some open associate positions. typically in the past, this last year, and I understand years prior, there's been some latitude for the superintendent if background checks, both the regular one and the national one have cleared, to go ahead and approve people to start working and then approve the contracts at the next meeting. We'll just ask along with that for that permission as well. So we can have bodies in the buildings, making sure that we're taking care of kids.
That's the way we've always done it, isn't it?
Right, yeah, we made that, that's why, we were talking about that today, and I said, we did that like 3 or 4 years ago to give Tom Rubel at the time, yeah, leeway, just get them in the building, and if you approve them, we're gonna support you with that, so.
Thank you.
Does that need to be kind of a part of our policy?
We talked about
I
that.
think it may be coming in at 300 series too.
I think it should be,
Yeah.
just so that if anyone wanted to look at it, they would be aware that it's in our policy
Yeah.
and we're acting in good faith.
I'm glad you guys said that, because that's exactly the conversation that we had today on that issue, was let's formalize that in a policy, because we did give that power to Tom, and let's just make it a policy. Mark was just feeling a little, he just wanted to make sure the board was supportive on that one, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, board, for that support.
Thank you, yeah.
Which group, I mean, I don't know which policy that would fall under yet, but
I'm thinking probably somewhere in 300, because I thought I saw an exemplar policy that had an option for that. So I just need to kind of look through that and see how that fits in there. I imagine, that, just to be honest with you, I think the 300 series is probably going to be equally as much cross out and italics as the 200 series was.
okay.
I think there's a lot on that one.
Just eliminates the discussion of how can you do that.
Right. Exactly. Just, to me, it's growing versus sharing, right? To hire an associate, to hire a janitor, to hire somebody, that is a rowing function that the superintendent just needs to make that hiring decision to go. So, all right, any questions on any of these? Otherwise, would the board like to take action?
Motion to approve all the personnel.
We have a motion second to approve the personnel business procedures listed in the contract. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? They're approved. Okay. Financial reports, paying the bills and looking at the numbers. Any questions on any of the bills? Big check to no say insurance, is
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the financial reports. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? One thing I did notice on my state bills, it's like smaller than it had been by quite a bit.
I did notice that, and I didn't have time to ask them why, so.
I wonder if early on they had, because the rate that they were spending early on was pretty high. I think they're pre-buying a lot of materials that they're now consuming, it's just in the labor, so. It's good to know that this rate of spending is going down, so.
And to that effect, anybody who's interested in walking through, there's some drywall up in the new classroom wing now, so.
Oh, yeah.
Kinda-
Yeah, it is, I walk through once a week, and you guys as board members, just go check in at the trailer, grab a hard hat, and you can go walk through it once a week. If Kevin doesn't know you as a, Kevin from my state, doesn't know he's a board member, just identify yourself, and I walk through once a week. I know Bob's got concern about some gravels and steps there, that's not quite paved
Yeah,
yet.
I'm not going back there till it's.
Yeah.
Coming soon, I think, though.
But I will tell you, it is, there's weekly, if not daily, progress being made. And you go in those classrooms now, all the infrastructure overhead, the miles of wire that's been pulled, the ducting that's in there. They started drywalling last week, some of the classrooms. You go back in that classroom wing, that how that wide that hallway is in Tunnel Now. I'm telling you what, putting drywall up there makes it look even wider than it was. That is gonna be a really cool, collaborative workspace for students to be into. I think we have some really, some cool opportunities, put some nice furniture and some things in there. That's gonna be a neat space to use, I think. So, but feel free to walk through there if you're not. It's, I'm thinking, I don't know if he's gonna get the rest of that common areas concrete poured this week, but the wrestling room, hallway to the weight room and stuff has been poured. The weight room's poured, the bathrooms are poured. It's just that common area, and they're actually framing those 2 classrooms that are offset from that hallway. And then all of the, like the guidance counselor and all the offices up there, those are all framed and everything. Brad's got the coolest office in the county.
They're hoping to have drywall and windows up there within the next couple weeks too.
Yeah, yeah, talking about getting the cool corner office with big windows, so. Brad's got the,
You shouldn't have to turn on a light at all.
Saving that money.
We're gonna put a big plaque in here, it's Brad Warren office.
he'll be able to see every student coming and going for the parking lot.
That's what it was designed for.
Yeah.
And his name will be on the plaque in there.
Will you have the machine gun there too?
No, absolutely no.
Paint gun? You can mark them.
Okay,
Their plaque already.
okay. All right, so let's go on to superintendent report.
I'll try to keep it brief because I'm kind of a talker, I apologize for that. Very excited about progress in the homeschool assistance program. Julie's received a number of students, actually today a handful of students had signed up, actually turned in their paperwork. She's got a number of other students who have expressed interest, folks that we haven't had the opportunity to assist in the past. So it's nice to see some new folks getting some help from us, and I think we've got some good resources that we can share with them and kind of help our community out. Virtual school, we got some information that we may be able to accept students from other districts potentially, actually, for our virtual school as well. Apparently they had changed some law in there and we just weren't aware of that. So we do have a couple of secondary students who will likely be enrolling. We believe it's in the best interests of that program to accept secondary students rather than elementary students for that from out of the district, because elementary students are a little bit tougher to do a good job for in a virtual setting, and we want to make sure that our program is a quality program that does well for students. Had the privilege of going up to serve on the legislative committee for Rural School Advocates of Iowa last week. Really great meeting. It's run by, those meetings are run by the people who run the ISPIS program, so Larry Sigel and Margaret Buckton. Margaret does a lot of work to try to help make sure that as legislation comes out, the DE maybe provides us with some guidance. She just did some advocacy at the DE's, I think it's an annual board meeting of some sort that they hold, asking for guidance on the books bill that came out this year. So folks who are just working in a nonpartisan way to ensure that we have what we need to be successful as public schools in the state of Iowa. So it was a really great meeting to get together with other superintendents from around the state there in Des Moines for that. We're doing a lot of back to school prep right now, getting things ready for our presentations to teachers. Wednesday we have the new teachers for their day. So we actually will be meeting with them at Lakeview Library rather than here at the admin building this year. So we're real excited to get people in and get things rolling. I joined the Y board last month and signed up to be on the youth sports and the facilities committees. And very excited, the youth sports committee is meeting for the first time tomorrow, so I'm really eager to learn more about that. Janelle Armstrong is the person who kind of runs that part, and she's great to meet with. I've met with her a little bit on the partnership between the school and the Y, so eager to go to that meeting with her there. We do have a construction meeting on Wednesday that we'd love to welcome a few of you to. Hopefully finding out more about maybe when concrete's going to be poured in some spots, and kind of finding out what we need to do with back to school and getting everything together with that. So excited about that meeting. That's the big ones.
Okay. Yeah. All right, let's do some more takeaways. Bob, you wanna go first?
Yeah, some odds and ends. You know, Main Street's closed right now, but today they poured concrete on the west side. And so I'd say by the end of the week, the concrete should all be poured.
Saw Jason Fraser last week and he did make a point, oh, when we went on Independence Day, he made a point that they moved that up on their schedule, because 2 years ago, they did it during the first week of school. And they realized they needed to make that change, so good
I
observation.
did thank him profusely for making that change.
Well, reading those policies, it's tedious, but you learn a little bit every time you go through those things, I think, probably.
Derek?
I did got an opportunity to sneak out of the office a little bit today, go down and help stuff backpacks for Avenues Family Alliance. 226, I think, is what Michael Clark said had registered, which was up well over from last year. I think she was 180 something. Hats off to community organizations, community members, and individuals that donate money and or supplies for that. I mean, it truly does take a village. Rotary Club, past president of, we were able to donate some of the backpacks for that. And it's just nice to see everything come together with that for those students that do need it.
Yeah. Miho does a great job on
She's
this
amazing.
organization too, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Should be a good one to bring them on that talk to us.
Interesting, yeah. Tim?
I came to the open house at 4 o'clock with a couple of us, and I really like what we're doing with that. I think that would have been very beneficial to me 2 years ago. So if something like that was in place, it would help the new board members understand what their role is, I think. And I think we're doing a good thing starting that. Maybe we can have some information about that.
Yeah, I'll talk about it at the end, but that's a good observation. So.
And we've done those in the past. I went to one well before I was on the school board, except it was too overwhelming. I told Mark, I went home with about this much material.
Oh, we didn't do that.
All the board policy. I think it was 3 notebooks you went home with.
No, we're not gonna
Let's
sit
share
up
them
here.
all.
Yeah, what they have set up here is brief to the point, PowerPoint that's what, maybe 8 pages long?
Yeah.
I don't know, guessing.
Pretty distilled.
But, yeah,
Yeah, we don't wanna-
I wish I would have.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that in my takeaway, but, some more things, because there'll be a lot of people streaming, so I'll put my plug in for that, but, yeah, both Mike and Tim came to it, Mike being one of the newer, or Tim being one of the newer board members, just kinda had a, boy, this would've been helpful, no, so. Mike?
I'm encouraged with Aaron's work, saving us money, and I like that. I'm also encouraged by the virtual and the homeschool thing. I think that's just right. We need to support whoever. I'm curious as to, I haven't been able to get this straight in my head, which groups or any of those groups eligible for our extracurricular activities?
So all of them with the right paperwork for the state, all those groups. So Homeschool Assist can do dual enroll to be able to do that, to participate in any of our sports. And then virtual school is fully a student of the district, so they're eligible to from the beginning. So all of them, which I would certainly love to see a lot of participation.
Has that been the same way in the past?
You know, as far as I can remember, homeschool students have always been allowed to participate in school activities. I mean, even when I was serving as principal in Burlington, I can remember that being the case there.
Because I thought there was an issue this year where
They sign that dual paper, and then they tell us if they want to come for band or music or all that.
So, right, and so, you know, one thing that maybe, and I don't know the specific situation, but one thing that we found is people who aren't open enrolled out to another district for a homeschool assistance program can't participate in our sport
Right.
okay,
activities.
that makes
So
sense.
you can only dual enroll with one district, so that could be part of what caused that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Which the nice thing of having that program now is I think there are some families who are hoping to take advantage of that and maybe not drive as far for the kid to get to do some of the activities they want. Yeah, I can recall when I taught here, I had some homeschool students in my band program too.
Thanks. Good. Chris?
I think the sharing agreement with Moravia is a great thing. I mean, if we could do that more with other schools in the area, I think that would be a great thing. And I wanted to comment on Julie for doing everything she's been doing
All right, for me, I'll talk about several things. One of them is, thanks for bringing that up. So we attempted to have a open house for potential candidates. So I'm kind of talking to, if you're watching this through the streaming, is we have elections up this year, and there's several positions that are up for election, actually an unusual number, there's 5. So if you think about running, now's a good year to run. There will be some board members who are gonna run and try and retain their seats, but we do encourage people to run for the school board. And if you watch this on a regular basis, you'll kind of see what we do, and I think I can speak for everybody around the board table. It's a very rewarding thing to do and be part of the community. So if you're thinking about running for it, we did have an open house today, but I think our advertising fell a little short. It didn't. We tried to plan some advertising a few 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we're not sure that it was effective. So we didn't have anybody show up. So if you're watching this towards the end, first of all, thanks for watching the school board meeting for now an hour. But on September 11th at 4 o'clock in this room, we're going to have another open house. We're going to do some more advertising in the newspaper, on the pitch, on Afternoons AM, and other social media things about come in and learn about what it means to be a school board member, what you're kind of signing up for, because I think everybody around this will tell you, it's just like, I didn't know I was getting myself into this. And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just there's so much that is about being a school board member that you don't know until you kind of get on the inside of this. And I think all of us agree it's a good and worthwhile way to volunteer in our committee, because the pay is 0, but the rewards are extremely high. So we'll do some more of that and try and help get you prepared to be a school board member. And with that, for everybody on the table, Lisa's going to go ahead and get 7 registrations, plus her, plus Mark. And some of those we've already talked to IASB. We can drop names in later if for people who are elected or not elected, that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and get everybody registered and plan to go. And hotel reservations have already been made. And we will stay at the same place. I know there's some feedback by you and your twin over there, who's not here tonight, about staying at a different hotel. They tried. It was already booked.
I think we'll try it even earlier next time.
I just hit behind.
Right to the
What's that?
I just hid behind.
Yeah. So,
Just wait and chill off.
last year was really windy and cold, and we kind of wish we had the skywalk to walk from the hotel, but hotel reservations already made for everybody, and we'll get everybody registered. As you should have gotten this in the mail. If you want to, as time goes on, we'll get to Lisa, so we can get the proper sessions that you want to attend in there. So I just want to say that those are some things. So it's not really a takeaway, it's more of a kind of a, yeah, it's like, here's what we're doing. ISB convention is important to everybody. It's important to our professional development. And if you think about running, you can contact me, contact Mark, contact Lisa, any one of the board members, and we'll certainly help you to get you started on what you need to do to become a school board member. So
I would say the open houses are probably a good place for people who are on the fence about whether they'd like to run or not, just to come in and kind of get a sense of,
Yeah.
does this seem like the kind of work that I'd want to do?
yeah, so again, that'll be September 11th, which is the date of our next regular scheduled board meeting. So at 4 p.m. So okay. So I don't have anything else. That's kind of my deal with this. Anybody else has anything?
Yeah, what roughly do you think the kindergarten enrollment's gonna be?
100-ish.
Ish.
The beauty of it is you don't really know until a few days into the year, because there's always somebody who comes on day 4 and says, hey, found out there was kindergarten here, would like to participate in that.
I would say 90-ish, how about that? Not quite 100 this time.
All right. With that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
You know, Mark, I'm really glad you made it. It's like the fact that the death in the family.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That's the family.